Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm Daniel Carter, and today I'm diving into a spine-chilling story from my past that I've kept hidden for years. It's a tale of love, desperation, and the terrifying consequences of delving into the supernatural. If you've ever been curious about the darker side of magic or wondered what might happen if you tamper with forces beyond your understanding, this story is for you. When I was 14, I was just an average teenager grappling with the usual struggles of growing up. I lived with my adoptive mother, who had taken me in when I was a baby. My father was a traveling worker for an electrical company, and his visits were infrequent. It wasn't until I was older that I learned the full truth about my biological family, and it turned my world upside down. One day, my adoptive mother told me something I hadn't expected. She wasn't my biological mother. She explained that my real father had been a serial cheater due to his job, and one of his lovers had dropped me off at her house like a parcel and left without a second thought. This revelation was a blow to my identity and made me question everything I knew about myself. Despite her emotional distance, my adoptive mother took me in without hesitation. She was likely infertile, which meant I was her only chance to build a family. Her strict religious views and the frequent absences of my father made our home life feel more like a prison than a sanctuary. Her faith was the only thing that seemed to keep her going, and it was something I couldn't fully understand at the time. By the time I was 15, I felt increasingly confined by her rules. She forbade me from having friends, believing that they would distract me from my studies and religious commitments. The only person she allowed me to interact with was Jeanette, an altar girl and the daughter of a catechism teacher. Jeanette became my closest friend, a rare beacon of normalcy in my otherwise restricted life. Jeanette's friendship was a relief, and she encouraged me to attend the upcoming school dance, a rare opportunity for me to experience a normal teenage event. I eagerly planned my escape, counting on the fact that my mother's medication would keep her asleep that night. On the night of the dance, I snuck out of the house after my mother had fallen asleep. Jeanette helped me get ready, and I felt a thrill of excitement as we headed to the school. For the first time, I felt like I was breaking free from my restricted world. Unfortunately, the night didn't go as planned. Marcos, the boy I had a crush on, was surrounded by beautiful girls, and I was subjected to mockery from my classmates. I felt like an outsider and returned home feeling utterly defeated. The next day, Jeanette proposed something that would change my life forever. She suggested we visit Madame Jandira, a local woman reputed for performing powerful love spells. Desperate to alter my fate, I agreed to visit her, despite my reservations. Madame Jandira's house was unsettling, and her demeanor was cold and unwelcoming. She informed me that her services were costly and required personal items from both me and Marcos, along with a substantial fee. Despite my misgivings, I paid her and followed her instructions, which involved a series of rituals and incantations to be performed over 7 nights. The ritual was daunting. Madame Jandira warned me to expect signs if the spell was working: a rooster crowing, a dog barking, and a baby crying. These signs were supposed to confirm that the supernatural forces were at work. As the nights passed, I became increasingly anxious. Each time I heard a rooster crow, a dog bark, or a distant baby cry, my fear intensified. I questioned whether Madame Jandira had tricked me and wondered if I was making a grave mistake. My nights were filled with terror, and I struggled to find solace. Determined to see the spell through, I continued with the rituals, clinging to the hope that it would change my situation with Marcos. My obsession with the spell grew, and my anxiety became all-consuming. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. One day, Marcos noticed his missing item and suspected me of theft. He confronted me, and my adoptive mother discovered my involvement with Madame Jandira. Her reaction was furious, and she punished me severely, leaving me in a state of deep regret. Desperate to undo the damage, I returned to Madame Jandira with Jeanette. The process of reversing the spell was as unsettling as the original ritual, and I left her house feeling deeply disturbed. That night, my fear reached its peak as I followed the incantation and prepared for bed. The signs Madame Jandira had described occurred one after the other: rooster crowing, dog barking, and a distant baby cry. I fled to my mother's room, but she dismissed my fears and sent me back to my own room. I spent the night in terror, praying for dawn to come. The experience was a profound lesson about the dangers of meddling with the supernatural and the importance of facing life's challenges without resorting to dark forces. The next morning, I shared my ordeal with Jeanette, but she dismissed my fears and laughed off my experiences. Her reaction only added to my frustration and sense of betrayal. As I tried to move on from the incident, I realized the profound impact it had on me. Thank you for joining me in this harrowing journey through my past. If you found this story compelling, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Share your thoughts or similar experiences, and let's discuss the lessons learned from this eerie tale. Until next time, stay safe and be mindful of the choices you make.